If it's a private firm that comes to us that just needs maybe a lobby ID or something in that fashion, we often make recommendations. If it's through an architect or a designer, they'll have specs in place. And based on those specs, of course, we have to quote and bid the job. What happens usually is we will go with spec, and whether that is a material that we do or don't carry, and then we make alternate recommendations. For example, a half-inch thick Sintra leather will look awesome in a lobby versus a half-inch thick, aluminum or stainless steel leather. And a lot of times that may just be a spec that they copy and pasted from a previous job, but they didn't realize what the cost impact is. So we often offer that as a value add. Say, hey, listen, we have materials that could make the look the way you want it, but not necessarily bust your budget. So for exterior, we certainly recommend dye bond. Depending on the geographic location, we can also recommend Sintra. The reason I say that is because here in Arizona, we get a ton of UV and direct sunlight, so sometimes we may need to go a little bit more heavy duty and go with the dye bond. Sintra, of course, around the country has great exterior life expectancy, but here in Arizona, for exterior jobs, we recommend painting Sintra with a good automotive paint like Matthews. And so once the Sintra is cut, made, manufactured, and then sprayed with a paint coat, it's a really durable, lightweight exterior material as well. But certainly dye bond works across the nation. For interior, there's really lots of choices. We can start with Gator Board for something on the more entry-level side. From there, move up to Sintra. Sometimes we do a combination where we'll use the Sintra as a fascia and then use Gator Board as a spacer block to give more dimension and more depth. And then, of course, if people want something a little nicer or more metallic looking, we can combine all those. You can say, okay, let's do a background out of dye bond. We'll do some spaced off letters in the front out of Sintra, and then we'll float the whole thing off the wall. So just using those three components, you can create a really custom look that still delivers what they're after, but without, going into steel or aluminum. For signage, of course, Sintra is absolutely crucial. What you even see behind me, we've got this Odyssey sign, which is an aquarium that just opened here in Scottsdale. So there's an entire concourse that is littered with that signage, whether it's informational, directional. So Sintra for signage, absolutely. Point of purchase, same thing. You can do inexpensive, lightweight signage that can be moved around a store with Sintra, so we certainly recommend it for that. Dye bond, of course, goes a little bit more on the permanent side, or a little bit more rigid or richer looking. So for POP, I wouldn't say dye bond is the best, but certainly Sintra would work. Gator Board works fantastic for, again, point of purchase or even temporary signage. Trade shows, little quick displays, something that needs to look great for maybe a week or two or a month. And after that, they're either done with it or they can easily pop it in the suitcase and move it without a ton of weight. It's really about understanding your client's needs and then explaining to them how the product will serve that need best. Meeting value with function, that's really where those three products come into play. So on the higher end with dye bond, of course, the durability, the uniformity, that's something you can always promote, and the fact that you won't worry about replacement. Going into Sintra, it's right in the middle. You can make a really beautiful sign and with a little bit of extra TLC, make it a very permanent installation. And then down to Gator Board, where you say, hey, listen, here's your best value. It's still a beautiful product. It prints well. It makes a beautiful graphic, but you're not investing a ton of money and it won't be permanent. For corporate ID, the big thing is, of course, is consistency. If it's a logo or a brand name, that has to look the same, whether it's here in Arizona or in New York, nationwide. So using a 3A product line that we know is a reliable source for us is really super important. It doesn't matter if I order the stock in January or in December, we know it's always going to be the same. And our printers are profiled to work with those products. So it's efficient for us because we know if we load 1/2-inch white face Gator board, it has a specific white point. That's the white point we expect. That's what the product will then deliver when it prints. So if it's a brand color that is specific, whether that's trademarked or just a nationally recognized brand, that color needs to reproduce time and time again. So again, the white point in Gator, fantastic. Same with Sintra. It's a very consistent product. And then with Dibond, whether it's white or brushed, it's always the same uniform surface. So we know what to expect. That really is our core reason for using those types of products for corporate IDs. Yeah, a lot of our corporate and franchise customers, of course, do come back to us time and time again. And the reason I think that they trust us with the recommendations we make is because the product doesn't fail. It performs what it's specified to do. So with Dibond and Sintra, we've never really had any issues at all as far as durability is concerned. It performs the way it's supposed to perform. Gator Board, on the other hand, it's a lighter, less durable material, but also that's how we sell it. We say, hey, listen, this will be great for your trade show. Use it 3, 4, 5 times. It does what it's supposed to do. And so for reliability's sake, I think that's really what it makes us feel comfortable to recommend the product time and time again. And we have yet to encounter anybody that comes to us and say, hey, your Dibond product didn't perform as noted, because it really outperforms for what we use.